This is the exact case study that you can follow step by step on how this South African brand scaled from doing 600,000 Rand per month to going to 2.5 million Rand per month in the span of 30 days. This is from June 1st until June 30th. And then the new revenue was July 1st until July 31st. So imagine what that revenue difference would do for your business. And I've highlighted the main points that they were focusing on, or rather suffering from beforehand, that most South African brands that we speak to are actually dealing with. So main thing is rising ad costs. This is the major kind of plague that's facing South African brands. Ads used to be easy, and that used to be the main attribution. You could just focus on that. It still is very important, but the issue is that everyone is spending on acquiring customers, but they're not retaining them, okay? So retention is the number one thing. Otherwise, ads is a big fat waste of time. And so many brands just don't understand that. Why would you acquire a customer just to get them to spend once and never again? Then you're just running in cycles over and over again. So this was a big pain point for them. They were facing raising ad costs and they weren't getting much return from it. The other thing is they were obviously competing with brands with a bigger budget, right? Everyone that you look around at, they have massive budgets and it's difficult to compete with that. But obviously we came up with solutions and I'm going to cover all of these. The next thing that is so common as well is low conversion rates with high traffic. So getting about 10,000 people to the website, but out of those, only about 3% convert. That is the average that we see across the board. So this is something that we focus on highly. And the last thing is they just have no reliable system to scale. Again, they're acquiring customers, but they have to keep spending to acquire and they plateau because every single month they have to rely on acquiring the same amount of people to keep the revenue where it is. So very simple fixes to that is how we manage to get to the point of increasing their revenue massively. And you'll notice here, a big issue is that email was only attributing 17% of their revenue. This is the biggest indicator that you have a retention problem. Email should be attributing at least 30 to 40% of your overall revenue. Sometimes it's even way more, but this 30% is the lowest. So naturally they should have seen a double increase to their revenue. And you can see how much campaigns were attributing and how much flows were attributing. So every single week they're sending out manual campaigns and they have some things in place, but nothing great because they only did 102K. But then if you take a look at the next 30 days, this is what worked well, is their revenue went up to 2.4 million Rand. Again, just 30-day difference doing essentially almost 2 million Rand more. And a big contributing factor to that, as you can see, is flows and campaigns were doing way more. Campaigns went up 600,000 Rand and flows went up 200,000 Rand. And that's how it got to this number of 951,000 Rand in total email revenue alone. And that did a major lift. And you can see the attributing factor over here. So 40% attribution versus the 17%. So this was a big reason why their revenue increased so much, right? They went up so much in overall revenue. So the real juice is in how we were able to get them the scale, how this brand was able to go from making 600,000 Rand per month to making 2.5 million Rand in the span of 30 days. And a big reason for that is campaigns. So you can see what we focus on with them is we try to send at least 2 to 3 times per week. That is like the magic spot. Sometimes most brands actually send even more than that. And you can see how their campaigns average. And we have sent so many campaigns without promos, by the way. So if you take a look at this one that generated 12K, this did not have a promo in it. This is just a plain text email, and I'm going to get into that. Then this one, everyday skincare, no promo, already generated 15K. So easy 12K, easy 15K from one send. And again, there's no promo here, and this is another plain text email, 18K. Then 12K, 15K. These are just from sending out. So naturally, if you increase your email cadence, you can increase your revenue because different people want to see different things. If you're posting about, in this case, it's a skincare brand. If you're sending emails or posting about a specific problem, it's going to appeal to different people than if you're sending something about another problem. So that's what we try to focus in on. And one thing that you heard me say is that we do plain text emails. This is huge in 2025 going into 2026 because everyone is so focused on putting out these massive visual emails. But the problem with us is everyone's doing that. Whereas what's really magic and working right now is making sure that it looks like someone from the company is personally reaching out. So what we'll do is we'll say, hey, it's Shannon from Skin Functional. Just wanted to reach out about what my skincare routine has been in the change of season. So you're almost just trying to dictate for them, because who do they trust more than the owner of the company or the lead of a company or someone in the company than to be told exactly what to take and how to take it. And that's how we approach all of our campaigns, right? And so when you take a look at the email side, you can see that it was averaging just less than about, let's just say 180K. It was doing way less than 180K for a long time. And you can see the sudden uptick in July. So once July came in, focused on the email strategy, that is how it reached this point of doing almost $1 million just from email marketing. They didn't have to spend more to get that extra revenue. If anything, it was the opposite. If they spent nothing that month, this money would have still come in and their margins would have shot up. So that is a massive thing. Email is how you protect margins, how you fight rising ad costs, and how you ensure that you're increasing your revenue and your profitability. It's such an easy way to do that, but no brands are doing it correctly. And if we take a look, this is what the emails used to look like. So this is a big problem as well, is so many people don't realize how visually important emails actually are. You need to do the thinking for your customers. So for example, this is an email that went out. It is not on brand. So you can see the color. So color is off brand. You can see that there's no CTAs, okay? Which means that people don't know where to click or if they can click. And that's a big problem. And you're also talking about way too many products. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you're talking about 5 different products. This is very overwhelming for a customer to know, because you're not breaking it down. You're not saying, hey, this is for dry skin. This is for skin that is too greasy. This is for this. You almost have to do the thinking for your customers. So that's what I'm about to show you we do differently. And then they only add their call to actions at the end of the email. That is a big mistake. The main thing that you want to do is this. So you can see how different it is. We increased the branding to where it's simple. They don't have to do they don't have to do too much thinking. So the way that we do that is in the first 5 seconds of opening the email. It needs to be branded, number 1. But we have the logo. Then we have a headline. And then we have some subtext and then a CTA. That is the formula. Just these 4 things. So you have your logo, your headline, your subtext, and then CTA. And that is literally the entire function of the whole email. You don't have to complicate it. All you're doing is that, and then you do want a good hero visual showing the products that you're talking about. So the first 5 seconds of someone opening their phone or opening their desktop, they see exactly what the email's about. And they see where to purchase, because there's a CTA very clear in the top. Whereas this, it's not very clear. You can't even tell, it's not on brand. There is no clear path to this, and there's no CTA. And that's why this did not perform well. It only generated like 800 Rand or something. So the difference here is that we immediately tackle everything visually first. Then what we'll do is we'll put in some text that is optional, right? Text should be optional because not everyone is a text reader, but not everyone's visual either. So then we'll put in some text for more context, and then we'll suggest the products immediately, and we'll simplify it. So as opposed to here, where you see it's just vitamin C, brightening serum, blah, blah, blah. This could mean a lot of things. Whereas here, what we're saying is we're explaining exactly what this product does. So it repairs your skin barrier, hydration, blah, blah, blah. So we're simplifying the whole process, and they can just purchase this directly. And on top of that, we're trying to simplify their whole routine. So we're trying to say, hey, you don't need this massive skincare routine. You just need this. Just do what the products say and you're sorted. And the major win for us that we keep capitalizing on with a lot of the brands we work with is before and afters. Before and afters, we have split tests so many times. This performs way better than any infographic, than anything else that we see. Because especially in the South African market, people want to know that it works. And the best way to show them that it works is by showing before and afters, right? So you can see the clear difference. So people get sold because you're showing them that their problem is solvable and you've done it for other people similarly, okay? So super, super simple breakdown. Now, just to go through that again, we lowered the friction. We made a clear CTA. We do the thinking for them. Short, simple text, suggest the products for them, before and afters. It is a 5-step process. That is it. Then if we go back, another big contributing factor, so you can see a lot of the revenue was because of the campaigns. So this blue is from the campaigns. The green is from floats. And those are just automated sequences that you set up to recapture revenue. And the big ones that are performing for us, as you can see, these just run on autopilot, by the way. Once it's set up, it just goes. So every time traffic comes to the website, you're recapturing them. So if before you were getting a lot of traffic to the website below conversions, this is where that is solved, because you're going to increase the chances of the people buying because you're targeting their specific customer journey. Think about it. Let's say a customer comes, they browse your website and they leave. They've got very different problems to someone who has gone all the way to checking out. The problem with people that browse and leave is that they don't know enough about you, they don't trust you enough, and it might be a pricing issue. So these flows automatically target those pain points. So this one is the highest generating one, the welcome sequence, which you should definitely have in place. It should be the highest converting one for you as well. If it's not, there's a big problem. So if we go look at the structure of this, when someone comes to the website and they subscribe for some kind of discount, we're capturing their information. So this is the ad spend, right? So ads will bring the customers in, or organic search will bring them in, and then they will go into the sequence immediately. Once they're in the sequence, we immediately send them an email saying, hey, welcome to Skin Functional. This is who we are. Get this discount. Here's what we suggest as a product. And here are some before and afters. So super simple, quick, short email. And then we wait a day until a specific time and day. This is a big important thing that a lot of people don't do. So we're waiting until the next day to send a follow-up to non-buyers, right? So this goes to non-buyers. In the non-buyers, we're saying, hey, don't forget your 25% off that we promised you in the first email. You did miss it, but here is just what you can use it on. Here's who we are. So you want to be a little bit more detailed here. People who didn't purchase in this first email, they're missing something, so we want to retarget them. Then we'll send another reminder depending on the brand. And then what we'll do is we will then break down the brand in more detail. The first 3 emails, what a lot of brands get wrong, is they try to add too much. What you actually need to do is you need to pull back, simplify the process, don't complicate it, don't overwhelm them. Just show them exactly what they should be purchasing, show them a simple call to action, show them your products. Email 2, elaborate a little bit. Then when you come to the point of here, this is what your purchasers and non-purchasers are getting. And this is about 5 days later or 4 days later. Now what you're going to do is you're sending this email where you're breaking down the team a little bit more. You want to show some transparency. You want to build culture with the company. You want to make them obligated to stay with the company by showing transparency and personalization, right? So here, what we like to do is in this email, we will often talk about before and afters. Before and after. Okay, so we'll do before and afters. That's point number 1. Point number 2, what we will often do is we will break down a kind of like dosage guide, if you want to call it that. So we explain the products a little bit more. So let's just say product explanation. And what this is, for example, let's just say we have multiple products. We're trying to simplify it. So in this case, instead of saying, hey, here's this product and here's this product and here's this product, we're saying, hey, if you have oily skin, here's your option. If you have this skin, here's your option. Same way, if you're a clothing brand, you can say, hey, here are our best selling shirts for the season of summer. Here are the best pants for winter, whatever it is, and make it seasonal. That is how we would approach that. Then the other thing that you can show in here is a little bit of the behind the scenes. People love seeing that. Talk a little bit more about the team itself. Who's behind the brand? Why did you guys do it? Make it a little bit more of a personal story. Okay, so you can tie all of these in as well, or you can split test. Then we'll wait 3 days. And this is the real magic, is we'll send a plain text email from the founder. There's no branding on this. Literally looks like it's coming from someone within the company, something personal, saying, hey, it's Shannon, personally wanted to reach out to you and thank you for being part of our journey. I personally struggled with my skin, and so that's why I did XYZ. And this is what I would recommend that I'm currently using in my routine. You can take it, my advice, don't worry about it. And PS, you still have your discount code. And that's where we'll tie it back into what we mentioned here. So super, super simple process. And then the abandoned cart. This is the second most high revenue generating email flow of all time. And because of this, so many of our brands just increase revenue so easily. And this will happen when someone abandons their cart. We immediately send them an email about 30 minutes later because they're high intent. A lot of people wait too long, and that's the problem. We'll send an email about 30 minutes later saying, hey, did you leave this behind? We show them their exact product that they left behind with some reviews. And then in the next email, we remind them and we give them a little bit more of a discount. So we'll say, hey, look, fair enough, you're not sure about your order. Here's 20% if you check out right now within the next 24 hours. Increase urgency. So this is urgency, right? So increase that urgency. Then we'll send one last email. In this last email, we want to make sure that we are reiterating that code and maybe talking about a few more reviews. In this one, a very easy trick that we do to keep revenue even higher is we want to talk about shipping times, because there's a big problem in South Africa when you have Uber Eats and Take a Lot and all these places that are suggesting times or showing you exactly when a product will deliver. Customers get very, very, very nervous not knowing when something will be delivered. And it makes sense. Why would you want to order something if it's going to arrive while you're at work or when you're not available? So always talk about shipping over here, okay? So shipping is a huge, huge, huge one that you want to talk about, to shipping, okay? And then next thing you want to talk about is reviews. You want to add as much case studies as possible, as many case studies as possible. And that is essentially how we've been able to generate such incredible results for our clients consistently, and how clients in South Africa, or just South African brands, are generating these incredible results of increasing this much in revenue. Super simple. So just follow this, increase your email cadence, make sure you actually have a really good strategy with targeting people, because the other thing that I didn't mention is our segments. Our segments are very important in a lot of our strategy, but I have other videos about that. So with that being said, feel free to watch our other case studies, and hopefully you got some value out of this. Hopefully you can apply some of these things, but go watch my other videos on how we are helping South African brands increase. And if you are a South African brand and you want to grow and you want a team that can guarantee that will happen, go down below, book in a call. We'll see whether it's a good fit and we'll see if we can work with you. Thanks.